So I used to work at a management consulting firm called McKinsey and Company, which is widely regarded as the most prestigious consulting firm to work for. My job was to work alongside a group of other 22 to 30-year-olds to help confused CEOs and industry veterans solve the biggest problems facing their companies, and then get blamed if something goes to shit. Now, I actually really enjoyed my time at McKinsey, and I learned a ton about business and how to be a structured analytical thinker. So in the true McKinsey way, here are 3 things I learned as a McKinsey consultant. Don't compare yourself to others. McKinsey was filled with incredibly bright and talented individuals. And I'm not talking about your average bright and talented. These kids were almost exclusively Ivy League graduates, were insanely smart, and for some reason were always really attractive too. On top of that, they had a list of amazing accomplishments for people their age. One girl in my cohort, for instance, was part of the American Olympic team for table tennis. Another 3 founded and ran their own global nonprofits, and yet another 2 had started their own companies already. So, what do you do? I can dance. Yeah, so for the longest time, I was pretty insecure of my own accomplishments and tried to compensate by doing my best to outwork and perform better than everybody else. Which also didn't work since these kids were ridiculously smart and hardworking, and I eventually burned out a bit. But over time, I noticed there were aspects of the job that I really enjoyed doing, like talking to clients and making sure the McKinsey team worked well together and that everyone was having a good time. Now, I probably wasn't the best at those things, but I was content knowing, hey, here's a skill that I have, I enjoy making other people feel good, and I'm going to become a better consultant at my own pace. This mindset really helped me thrive in my own way, but I eventually quit like everyone else because working 80-hour work weeks, being far away from home, while paying $3,000 for a New York City apartment I don't even live in is f***ing psychotic. The human mind is amazing. Working at McKinsey really showed me how much a person can learn in so little time. Like, I learned so much about the most useless shit you can imagine. Now, often it wasn't by choice, but because we had these arbitrarily set deadlines, only for the client to get busy at the last minute and blow us off from more pressing issues. On the job, I had to answer tough questions like, how much does the US pay for flood protection in a year? Or how much beef does China consume per capita? Now, no one really cares about these questions, but apparently clients were willing to pay us hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting fees to find the answers. Almost every project I came in not knowing about an industry, function, or company, but came out pretty adept after 8 short weeks. I learned that learning quickly and getting up to speed rapidly is a skill in itself and something you had to be good at to be an effective consultant. There were instances where team members would parachute in and join a project halfway through, but be expected to get caught up on the material within a day or less. Learning this way was definitely painful, but ended up being extremely useful in later jobs. For instance, recently my boss asked me to conduct some industry research, and what would normally take mortal humans days to complete, I, now an ex-McKinsey consultant, was able to do in the span of a few hours. But I mean, in the end, the result was kind of the same though. Don't always follow the crowd. At McKinsey, I noticed that people were super risk averse and tended to follow the pack. For instance, there was this one job in finance that was super popular because it paid the most money, especially considering a lot of us were early on in our careers. People would kill themselves, and probably each other if given the chance, to try to land a coveted role in this industry. Now I get the money is attractive, but it seemed like everyone wanted to get into this line of work just because everyone else was doing it. Do you like doing this finance stuff? Oh, me? I don't really know, but last year Ashley got a job there and she seems to be making a ton of money and living the good life. Yeah, but what about what you want to do? Dude, I just answered your question. So over time, I saw a lot of these folks go into the finance industry but quit soon after because they realized that the job was a bit like consulting 2.0, except with shittier people. Not only that, a lot of them said the stress and hours on the job just wasn't worth it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I also entertained thoughts of getting one of these jobs. But in the end, my sound judgment got the better of me, and I decided to take a job that allowed me to do things that I enjoyed in my free time.